Beginning in the late 19th century and continuing on until the year 1996, the government of Canada implemented and maintained the residential school system, which systematically sought to remove Indigenous First Nations children from their families of origin and to raise them in state-run schools, often overseen by the Anglican or Catholic churches. And the attempt was to remove them from their cultural backgrounds and frankly destroy their connection with their Indigenous culture and language and families. The practice of the residential school system has widely been recognized as a cultural genocide. And today, as I speak, September 30th, 2021, is the first Day of Truth and Reconciliation in Canada, which will now become an annual holiday in recognition of this terrible legacy of Canadian history. And with that in mind, I wanted to honor this day by offering a theological devotional reflection. And I want to begin by reading from Luke chapter 16, the parable of Lazarus and the rich man. There was a rich man who was dressed in purple and fine linen and lived in luxury every day. At his gate was laid a beggar named Lazarus, covered with sores and longing to eat what fell from the rich man's table. Even the dogs came and licked his sores. The time came when the beggar died, and the angels gathered him to Abraham's side. The rich man also died and was buried. In Hades, where he was in torment, he looked up and saw Abraham far away with Lazarus by his side. So he called to him, "Father Abraham, have pity on me and send Lazarus to dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, because I am in agony in this fire." But Abraham replied, "Son, remember that in your lifetime you received good things, while Lazarus received bad things. But now he is comforted here and you are in agony. And besides all this, between us and you, a great chasm has been set in place, so that those who want to go from here to you cannot, nor can anyone cross over from there to us." Now, this is an image from the Washakata Indian home in Elkhorn, Manitoba, taken in 1895. This was a residential school which operated for years, for decades in southern Manitoba. And the child that I want to reflect on is probably in this picture, but we do not know what he looked like. We do know that he was removed from his home approximately 1,000 kilometers away in southern Alberta. He was Blackfoot, and he was taken away from that home, the only home he had ever known, and placed within this school and raised in a place where he would be taught to become a real Canadian and to forget and become alienated from his language and culture. Because of the poor sanitation of the home, he became ill and died of tuberculosis and was summarily placed within a grave. And the thing is that we ask, what was his name? It is listed on the official records as Dummy Bad Boy. That's the official record. Think about that. On the official record, a child of God, his name, the name given to him was Dummy Bad Boy. Many of the leaders of the residential school system that systematically sought to destroy Indigenous culture have over the years been revered within Canadian society. Their names have been well known and have been given to schools and to community centers, to streets and to squares. Meanwhile, the names of countless children, victims of this slow-rolling genocide, have been lost to us forever. In many cases, all that we have are unmarked mass graves and cruel nicknames left on a death register. But God's kingdom is not like this world. In God's kingdom, the rich man is the one who has no proper name, while the poor man, the one that nobody knew in this life, he is given the name Lazarus. Lazarus from the Hebrew Eliezer, God has helped. The world knows the name Lazarus, and someday the same will be true of a little child victim of the residential school system who died in 1895 in Washkata. The world will know his name.